Hi and welcome back to the channel, and today the used car conveyor belt has brought us a 2005 Volkswagen Polo that's covered around about 77,000 miles. So this definitely isn't the worst car we've had on the channel, but at 20 years old this vehicle does need a little bit of TLC before it goes to find a new home. We've been given a budget here of £150, so we're going to do the best we can within those parameters today. So luckily in this engine bay, the coil packs are covered up by this big black engine cover. The only thing I've had to be a little bit mindful of is on the right hand side we've got at the back near the bulkhead, we've got an ECU, and in front of that we've got the battery, and it's got a sort of power pack and a lot of electrics on the top of it. So I've just covered those up with a microfiber just to stop too much water ingress in there while we're using the jet wash. So with the engine bay complete, I'm now going to be looking to do the wheels and the tyres. I'm going to use one product for both. It's called Wheel Bright. It's a strong alkaline cleaner, so it's not acid based, and it's going to really break up the dirt in the rubber tyre, and it's also going to loosen off the brake dust on the alloy wheel. You need to leave it to sit for about 2 or 3 minutes, maybe a bit longer if the wheel's really disgusting. But as we can see on camera, it starts to break up all the filth pretty quickly and then rinses off straight away. So I always tend to do the engine bay first, then the wheels and tyres and the wheel arches, and then work onto the door shuts. And as we can see here, I've just sprayed some all-purpose cleaner in there, agitated it with a brush, and then just get the jet wash in there and wash them out. You get a very slight amount of water ingress into the car, but it's not that thing to worry about. I'm going to be wet vacuuming the carpets in the car and the seats anyway, and the plastic trims, so it's not going to cause any problem. Once the door shuts are all done, we can look at the bodywork. And I tend to do this in sections, so for example I'll do the rear tailgate area first, make sure I scrub around all the badges, the door handle, things like the rubber seal underneath the rear window, and just systematically flush all the green sort of algae around there and moss and whatever's grown over there, and get it all nice and clean. Then go on to maybe the rear quarter panel on the door, front wing, front grille, etc. That way you don't forget an area and you're just doing one little bit at a time, and you can make sure you get a thorough deep clean on the car. And after what seems like an eternity of washing, I can finally reverse the car out, just give the wash area a good old hose down and get rid of all the mud and crud. Then I'll bring the car back on and continue with the rest of the clean. And if you haven't seen one of these before, it's called a crevice brush. You can get them off Amazon, eBay, etc. And they're absolutely brilliant at getting down the side of these seat rails and just getting out all the awkward stuff you just can't get the vacuum cleaner down. So I'm very fortunate to have a big large air compressor, which is absolutely invaluable for cleaning the inside of a car. Things like this air vent, which are really sort of crudded up, I can get the brush in there, give it a good agitation with some detergent, and then just blow out any of the filth afterwards. And also on the steering wheel, a lot of people tend to forget to sort of pull them out. So you've usually got an adjustment handle at the bottom. For you, obviously undo that, you can tilt the steering wheel up and down. And you usually find there's quite a big tide mark where it's been sat in one position for a long time and the sort of crumbs and dust have built up there. So it's always worthwhile pulling the steering wheel out and giving it a good clean. As we can see on camera, I love these new little scrub it pads. They're absolutely brilliant. So a little bit of detergent on there, you can scrub over the plastics, and then I just use a very slight damp microfiber cloth to wipe off the residue and the dirt off the dashboard. And I'll just wring out both in a bucket to keep them clean and make sure all the plastics sort of getting washed down properly. So the seats were grubby, but not the worst we've had on the channel for sure. But it was obviously in need of a deep, thorough clean. Of gone over these 2 or 3 times and it's most certainly got the filth out of them. I always run a detergent I'll soak through a machine that's got a antibacterial agent in it as well, so it'll kill any bugs and disgustingness off in the seats. As always, we're using a bit of Aerospace 303 as a dashboard dressing. Reason being, it's long lasting, cost effective, gives a lovely satin finish without looking sort of too garish. There's no sliminess to it, and we're using a little detailing swab here just to go around the vents and things like that. At £150 I can't spend hours machine polishing this car, it's just not economically viable. But however, sort of applying a compound which is an all-in-one with the sealant is going to give this car a very light cut, so it's going to take out any marring, it will improve the gloss on the paintwork, and it will give it some protection. Again, something that would have been nice to have done this vehicle would have the wheels refurbished. Again, it's not in the budget or the price range and age, so all I'm going to do here is get some generic silver, and BMW Titan Silver is a very good match for alloy wheels if you ever need it. And I'm just going to go around, just brush a bit on the curbing. It's not going to completely fix the problem, but it's going to take your eye off it and just improve it a little bit. So once the grill's all dressed up, we can then look to do the glass. Always drop the tops of the windows down so you can get to that bit at the top, otherwise you're left with this horrible tide line, it looks awful. And as we move to the after shots, we can see what the car looks like now. So £150 later, and it's a marked improvement. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. Is there room for improvement? Of course there always is. You could always chase perfection, but on a car like this and the price point, it now looks presentable, and that's what the customer wanted. And hopefully this car will find a new home and somebody enjoy driving around in it, and it will do them a good turn because it's got plenty of life left in it still. And also something rather exciting, I've got a vehicle next week that's going to be a little bit different. So as you can see on camera now, we're going to be tackling this. It's the back of an ex-decorator's van, and it's absolutely trashed. The thing is, the van's very low mileage, and my customer said to me, can you do anything with that? And I said, well, give it a go. So tune in next week and you'll see how I got on with that project. Thanks for watching.